She's like a sickness in my brain, a vision standing by the window pane. She ripples through the blinds and leaves me in a daze. It's in the way her body moves me, the way she grabs me and intoxicates, until the signals in my mind forget to operate. She'll put the pressure in your fragile skull. I take my pleasure from my alcohol.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry, I want to apologize in advance if I am not my normal self. I have been coming down with the flu. In fact, it hit hardest yesterday. And right now I'm in that kind of okay place where extra strength Tylenol and coffee have kicked in and are working together in a team effort to keep me on my feet, but I don't know how long that's going to last. Today we're talking about the ongoing case of a little 6-year-old girl named Faye Swetlik. We're also going to do updates on the Chad Daybell and Vallow case because there have been a few of those which have popped up since we last discussed it. Stay tuned till the end because there is something I want to talk about with you guys, a way that we can discuss these ongoing crime cases more one-on-one, more in person. So stay tuned till the end and let me know what you guys think about that. Now, like I said, this case is ongoing. It's a very new case. It just happened last week and I've been watching it since it started and paying attention, kind of like everybody else, waiting to see what was going to happen. And many of you have reached out to me and asked me to cover this. However, there are things that are going to be revealed to us in the next couple of days, so I will be doing an update on this as well. On this past Monday, February 10th, a 6-year-old girl in South Carolina disappeared from her front yard while she was outside playing. I've been watching this case unfold as it happened, hoping that Faye would have a happy ending, but unfortunately, she didn't. After a 3-day search, her body was found the following Thursday in a wooded area, not far from her home. Today, we're going to talk about the timeline and what we know so far about the disappearance and the death of little Faye Swetlik. Now, the day Faye went missing, she was captured on her school bus surveillance camera being dropped off at home around 2:50 p.m., where her mother was waiting to get her off the bus. According to her mother, they went into their apartment, Faye had a snack, and then she decided to go outside to play. And this was around 3:45 when her mother realized she was no longer in the yard playing. She panicked, she ran around the neighborhood, local stores, asking if anyone had seen her daughter. At 5 p.m., Selena Collins, who is Faye's mother, called 911, panicked, saying that her daughter had been playing in the yard after school, and now she was gone. And as a mother who has experienced a few of these scares during the summer, not knowing where Aiden had run off to in the neighborhood, in the mall when I turned my back for a second and turn around and Bella's not there, I felt her panic and her terror. Now I'm going to play the 911 call now. For those of you who don't want to hear it, I completely understand. I'll place a timestamp in the description box and then I'll sum up what was said.
Langston County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
16 Londonderry Square. I need to report a missing child.
Alright, repeat that address for verification.
16 Londonderry Square, Casey, South Carolina.
Alright, and tell me exactly what's happening.
I can't. We can't find my daughter. She was playing outside. I know where to find her.
Okay, how old is she?
She is 6. She's going to be 7 in June.
Alright, I'm going to stay on the line with you, so I'm going to get KCPD on the line too, but I'm going to stay on the line, so don't hang up, okay?
Okay.
Hey Casey, this is Lexington. I've got a lady at 16 Londonderry Square. Her 6-year-old was in the front yard, and she can't find her now. Alright, hold on. What's the number? 16 Londonderry Square. And I have her phone number. I'm going to stay on the line so it doesn't get disconnected. Yes, ma'am. Can you tell me what your son's name is?
My daughter's name is Faye Swetlik. Faye.
Hold on. All right. What was the first name again?
Faye.
Faye, Faye?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's her last name?
Swetlik.
Spell that for me.
Swetlik.
Okay, and what was she wearing?
She was wearing polka dotted rain boots, a flowered skirt, And,
solid skirt or a flowered skirt?
flowered. Was, a pink rose skirt. And,
And
a black,
kind of shirt?
a black t-shirt that has, a neon design on it.
And how long has she been gone?
Last I saw her probably about an hour ago.
How tall is she?
She's 3'10".
3 foot? How much does she weigh?
65 pounds.
All right, stay on the phone with me. Do not hang up. What's your name? You last saw her in the front yard. You didn't see which way she went or anything like that?
No, she was just right in front of my front porch.
Okay. Does she have a husband?
No.
All right. Have you possibly, have you walked around and tried to locate her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to stay in your yard, okay? Because we have a unit out that has a dog just in case we need to try to track her, okay?
Okay.
So we don't need you walking. If you can just kind of stay close to the last place she was. Hold on just a second.
So in this call, Selena says that her daughter is missing, that she was playing in the front yard, and then she was gone. The 911 operator asks if Selena saw which way Faye went, and Selena responds that she didn't even see her leave. When Selena's asked how long Faye's been missing, she responds that she last saw her daughter about an hour prior. The 911 operator tells Selena to stay put, that they have a unit with a police dog out looking for Faye, and Selena should stay close to the last place that Faye was seen in case she comes back. Selena's also asked if she has any idea where Faye might have gone, and Selena says no. She's talked to the neighbors to see if they've seen her daughter, but no one has, and many witnesses came forward and said that, yes, Selena was running around looking for Faye, running into stores, asking if anyone had seen Faye, and then when they said no, she would just run out again onto the next. So the operator tells Selena to stay on the phone in case Faye comes home so that she can let the police know. The police arrived and they searched the area. They went door to door, talking to neighbors, including a man named Coty Taylor, who lived just about 150 feet away from Faye's home. When Faye was last seen, she'd been wearing polka dot rain boots and a flower-patterned skirt. The first grader was described as a happy girl, sweet, giggly, with an infectious smile. She had strawberry blonde hair and blue eyes, a bright little girl who loved to wear dresses and fancy shoes, enjoyed playing outside. She loved cats. A waitress who saw Faye almost every Saturday at a nearby Waffle House said that Faye was incredibly friendly and talkative. And the last time that they had talked, Faye told her she was going to buy her cousin guitar strings for his birthday. So she's a kind girl, a thoughtful girl, a 6-year-old who is thinking ahead about what she's going to get her cousin for his birthday. More than 250 officers began canvassing the neighborhood and the surrounding areas looking for her, but there was no sign of Faye. At around 5 p.m. on the evening of February 11th, when Faye had been missing for 24 hours, a press conference was given to update the public on the investigation. They said that the family had been cooperative, including Selena's boyfriend and Faye's father. I do think that Selena's boyfriend and Faye's father are two different men, but I am not sure. It was determined that there was no evidence that an abduction had taken place. And here's where I have a big issue with this, but we're going to talk about that in a second. The next morning during a press conference, so this was February 12th, it's revealed that police are using security camera footage from the neighborhood to see if they can spot Faye and get an indication of which way she might have gone, or to get a better indication of what happened. And like I said, I guess this is where I had a little bit of an issue with the investigation in its early stages. A 6-year-old vanishes from her front yard, and there's no sign of her for over 24 hours. To me, the most logical conclusion would be that she'd either been taken or she'd wandered away and come across something or someone which had prevented her from returning home. And when the police department is asked why there's no Amber Alert issued, the department response was that the case didn't meet the federally mandated guidelines, for one. According to them, there needed to be clear evidence that an abduction had occurred, and they would have to have enough information to share which would aid in the recovery of the child. But when I looked into it a little bit, there's other criteria that can justify an Amber Alert, such as if a child is under the age of 17 and authorities believe that she could be in immediate danger, or if all other possibilities for the disappearance can be excluded. When we're talking about a 6-year-old child on her own for an extended period of time, like overnight, I think it's safe to assume she may be in immediate danger. I really wish that law enforcement would get it together, get with the times, and issue an Amber Alert the second they realize that a child's missing. The first hours after a disappearance are the most crucial. And even if it turns out to be nothing, I'm not sure what harm putting out an Amber Alert could do sooner than later. I guess I don't understand. If there's somebody out there watching this in the comments, let me know what you think could be the potential downfall or downside of putting out an Amber Alert for a missing 6-year-old as soon as you discover that she's missing. So I watched a news report from a local news station in South Carolina, and it seems like police told the local media that Amber Alerts had been created before the rise of social media, but now it was felt by the police that social media had replaced this system. At least that's what News 19 WLTX reported. They were told social media is now our Amber Alert. And that's why they continued asking the media to share the story so people could then share it from their website. And once again, that doesn't really make any sense to me. The additional help of the media is great, but not everyone watches the news. Not everyone is on Facebook or Twitter. An Amber Alert sends an automatic message with critical information to all cell phones in the area. When time is of the essence, within the first few hours of a child going missing, a message sent out like this, it might help if someone's at work or out and about, in the car, not sitting on their phone or computer checking on the news every 5 minutes. Additionally, I've said this before in other cases, but the family's always going to know the victim the best. And the family told the police that Faye knew better than to wander off by herself, and she knew to be constantly aware of her surroundings. So I guess I just still can't understand, given all this justification of social media as the new Amber Alert, and we can't really say for sure that foul plays happened, because neither of those things is really true or relevant or helpful or productive, I guess. Like, neither of those justifications make sense to me. A 6-year-old's gone. She doesn't come back home when it's time for bed, as a 6-year-old would. Get scared, it gets dark, come home. To me, that's an immediate sign that foul play has happened. And on top of that, she's under the age of 17. You've pretty much excluded all the possibilities. You said that the parents are being cooperative. There doesn't seem to be any sign that they have been involved. She's not with any of her friends. She's not with any of the neighbors. Nobody in town has seen her. What other option is there than foul play? So I really don't agree with the way that the police department handled this, failing to put out an Amber Alert. Not that in the end I think it would have made much of a difference, but I just think that we need to get into a habit. Law enforcement needs to get into a habit of putting out Amber Alerts as soon as a child goes missing. So at 9 p.m. on the evening of the 12th, law enforcement shared 2 images of vehicles seen in the neighborhood at the time of Faye's disappearance. A silver sedan and a Chevy Trailblazer, and they asked for the public's help in identifying them, but at this point there's still no break in the case. On the morning of February 13th, police were working with the city's sanitation department to empty and inspect the contents of trash cans around the Churchill Heights neighborhood where Faye lived, before the trash is taken away to the landfill. During this process, they uncovered what was referred to as a critical item that belonged to Faye or related to the case. Now, this item was found in the trash can associated with a specific address, 602 Piccadilly Square. So obviously, police are now going to focus their search efforts in the area near that address. At 11 a.m. that same morning, Faye's body was found. Police also discovered the body of another person, Coty Taylor, a neighbor of Faye's who lived at 602 Piccadilly Square, one of the people that the police questioned and talked to while Faye was still considered a missing person. Taylor was found, according to police, moments after Faye in his home. At this time, police do not believe that Faye's body was at that location it was found the entire time she was missing. And at the time I'm recording this, the cause of death for both Faye Swetlik and Coty Taylor have not been released, and autopsies have been scheduled for Saturday. So today's Monday. The autopsies were done this past Saturday, and they're having a press conference tomorrow to tell us what the results were of the autopsies. Police did, however, state that they believed the deaths to be connected. So, who is Coty Scott Taylor, and how is he connected to Faye and her family? The police are remaining pretty tight-lipped when it comes to this man and his presence in the case, but a Sergeant Evan Antley did reveal that Coty Scott Taylor didn't appear to have a criminal history, at least not one that they were aware of. He was 30 years old, and he'd graduated from Bluffton High School in 2007. During his high school career, he didn't have any disciplinary or academic issues. In fact, he graduated in the top 10% of his class. He was a member of the Model UN, and he was on the school's robotics team. I think the school's robotics team is where they build robots for, like, competitive sorts of, competitive matches. I don't think they fight. I think it's just like who can build the best robot. He enrolled at the University of South Carolina in the fall of 2007, and he transferred to Columbia in 2008 as a math major. According to the college's records, he dropped out in 2009. And as far as where he worked or where he was working, he'd previously worked for Jimmy John's, which is a sandwich shop. But when the sandwich shop was called, they'd said he hadn't been an employee there since 2015. It's also unknown exactly what was found in his trash that connected him to Faye, but like I said, it's been revealed that it was a personal item of the first graders and something that would have been listed on her missing persons flyer, so I assume it must have been an article of clothing. It seems like there's some whispers or talk online that it was a rain boot. There's also talk online that a knife was found in the garbage, in Coty's garbage, with this rain boot. Now, once again, I cannot confirm that. I've seen it in more than one place, but I haven't seen it in any legitimate media sources. Coty Taylor lived in a townhouse apartment just steps away from Faye's front yard. As far as we know, he was not a friend or even an acquaintance of the family. It hasn't even been revealed yet whether or not he ever met Faye or her family in person. And once again, police aren't really saying much. They have said that the deaths are connected, but they have also said that they have no suspects at this time. They have also said they're not seeking any persons of interest. They did want the public to know that they don't believe there's an active threat to them or their children, but there are things about the investigation that they cannot discuss. We don't know how Faye died, what the condition of her body was. We don't know how Coty died or what the condition of his body was. I imagine that after the autopsies are conducted, they'll release more, but I don't think that they're going to really release everything. Once again, there's also some chatter online. There's Facebook groups, for these cases when they happen, where people can discuss them. And then people who know the people involved in the case or are kind of on the peripheral of the case, they'll come forward and say things. And there was somebody who came forward and said that Coty Scott Taylor had a roommate. And this roommate is the one who found his body the morning that he was found and called police. And this was right after they had found Faye's body. Once again, I can find no proof or evidence that Coty Scott Taylor had a roommate. However, having somebody else living in the apartment with him, it would make sense why he was found by the police so quickly, I guess. Like I said, this is all developing. It's all coming out. And it really doesn't add up, right? It really doesn't add up. Faye's death was an incredible blow to her family, to the neighborhood, to the country. Those who knew her said she was such a good-natured child, never mad, never sad. An employee at the Circle K that Faye and her mother often shopped at said that when they would come in, Selena would tell Faye to get whatever she wanted and bring it up to the register, and Faye would always choose a pink donut. It really feels like this community is and was incredibly tight-knit. Many knew Faye, and even those who didn't know her personally still felt like they couldn't rest until she was found. Neighbors put up posters. Friends and strangers alike were out there searching for her. A memorial was created for Faye outside of her elementary school, with everyone from her classmates and strangers making a point to stop by and add to it by placing flowers, teddy bears, tokens of love, and support for the young life that was cut short. At this point, it seems out of control. Kids dying every single week at the hands of their own family, at the hands of strangers. It's so senseless. It's so disgusting. Obviously, we don't really know anything about this situation. And yes, there's many people out there speculating that Coty Scott Taylor is responsible for the death of Faye Swetlik. But in the interest of responsible reporting, I do need to say it is simply speculation at this point. I also understand when there are so many gaps and unknowns in these cases, we mentally want to fill in the holes in an effort to try and make sense of all of it to try to understand why, but we should try to hold ourselves back from this kind of behavior at this point. Of course, it's possible that Coty Scott Taylor did this to Faye. Given what we know, does that seem to be the most likely scenario? Just from looking at things and the connections? Sure, it does. But for all we know, this man could be another innocent victim, maybe in the wrong time, the wrong place. Out of respect for the family of Faye, we can't jump to conclusions about what happened. What we can do is to keep them and Faye in our hearts and our minds and remember her as she was described, as an incredibly bright light in this world. I'm going to keep you updated as new developments arise. Like I said, it's so easy to start thinking and letting your mind run crazy and speculate about who this guy was and why or how he was involved with Faye Swetlik. It would be easier to know what happened if we knew how he died or the timeline of when he died. Did he die before, after? Like, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of get an idea of what might have happened once we have more information. But he didn't have a criminal record. He seemed to be a pretty normal, intelligent guy. He does have a YouTube channel, and on that YouTube channel, there's just one video, and it's just of him playing a video game for like 35 seconds. Many people have said they found his Reddit username, and he says he's lonely and that he's given up on finding anyone. Once again, all speculation. We don't know if that's his actual Reddit username because it's anonymous. It's like you just can pick whatever name you want. It's not going to be your name, and it's hard to really tie a username to a person. But if it was him, then I have to believe, because of his close proximity to Faye, he was probably watching her and planning this for a while, kind of just waiting for his opportunity. And when she was alone in the yard, he took it, if that's what happened. Hopefully we find out more soon. Like I said, I'll keep you updated. Let's talk about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. More things have popped up since we talked last. This is the case that never ends. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if these people have connections in the police department and law enforcement, and that's why they seem to be getting away with having their kids completely be disappeared, not telling anybody where they are. Can you imagine if my kids, if Aiden and Bella just disappeared tomorrow and the police kept asking me where they were and I wouldn't tell them? I'd be in jail in 5 minutes. Why are Chad and Lori just hanging out in Hawaii, having their honeymoon, living the good life, seemingly? So I want to touch on the storage units that belong to Lori Vallow. I want to talk about Tylee's phone. I want to talk about the 911 call that just came out, the 911 call that was made after Alex Cox, Lori Vallow's brother, was found dead. I want to talk about what JJ's school had to say about JJ's enrollment there, his removal from the school, and what his mother, Lori, has been doing with the school's system ever since. First of all, let's talk about Tylee's phone. Now, Tylee is the oldest daughter of Lori, and Tylee's phone was found in one of the vehicles of Chad and Lori when they did a search warrant after they were in Hawaii. So Tylee's phone has been in the possession of Lori and Chad for probably quite a while. And a friend of Tylee's has come forward stating that she had texted Tylee in October after Tylee went missing and pretty much asked, where are you? Like, we miss you. And Tylee had responded to her, miss you guys too, love you, or something along those lines. Obviously, that was not Tylee sending that message, right? That was most likely Lori and Chad sending a message from Tylee's phone to a friend of hers who was concerned about where she was, letting her know that she was okay. That is suspicious, and in my opinion, cause for some kind of arrest or bringing in for questioning all on its own, because this is what people do when they kill people. They take their cell phones and then they pretend to be them so that people think that they're still alive and nobody's looking for them. So it's incredibly shady. It's incredibly suspicious. What kind of mother does that? Now, Tylee's aunt, Annie Cushing, so this was the sister of Joseph Ryan, who was one of Lori Vallow's husbands and Tylee's actual biological father. So Annie says that Lori Vallow asked her to come support Tylee after Joseph Ryan's death, to help support Tylee, who would be grieving for her father. And according to this article, Cushing said her former sister-in-law seemed unhinged and questioned whether she was a psychopath. She said, quote, "When I got there, it was as if nothing had happened. People were hardly talking about Joe, and when Lori did, the tenor was, she would actually say, 'The world is a better place without Joe Ryan.'" There was also a lot of tension between Tylee and Lori. There was one time where she was talking about it and she says, "Sometimes I think it would be better just to get my kids in a car and go off the side of a cliff." So that in itself is problematic. First of all, I don't care what you feel about your ex-husband. He's still the father of your child, your daughter, and now he's dead, and his sister's there, and these people are going to be mourning for him and be sad that he's gone. And you don't say things like the world's a better place without Joe Ryan. You just don't. You don't. Maybe inside your head. Maybe when you get in the car later with your friend and you want to talk about it, fine. But you don't say that out loud in front of his daughter and his sister who loved him and are sad that he's gone. Just that statement and the fact that she would make it at that time makes me think that she's completely untethered from reality. That she has no filter. She doesn't care anymore. And then obviously the statement about putting her kids in a car and driving off the cliff, these statements have been made, and it's very reminiscent of a parent who kills their children because they think that the world is just too bad and too horrible and they want to get out of it. And they're doing their kids a favor by doing that. So this is all concerning. Then we have this storage unit, the storage unit that was registered under Lori Vallow's name. So there's a video from the storage facility, and this video appears to show JJ and Tylee's mother, Lori Vallow, at a storage facility near their home shortly after 7-year-old JJ and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan were last seen in September. So what happened was Lori, I think once she moved to Hawaii, she stopped paying this storage unit because you have to keep paying every month or they're just not going to keep your stuff there anymore. They'll like cut the padlock and throw the stuff out. And she stopped paying, or her credit card number was changed, or she canceled her credit card. Either way, the storage unit wasn't getting their money and they tried calling her, but she wasn't responding. So the police went to the storage unit, and according to them, they found bikes, photos, and a backpack with JJ's initials. There were also blankets in there, and apparently there was like 2 blankets. One had a picture of JJ or pictures of JJ, and one had pictures of Tylee. So like their personal belongings, their personal like memory blankets. According to this article, this video shows Lori Vallow and a man visiting the storage unit. This man is supposedly Alex Cox, or thought to be Alex Cox, Lori's brother. So there's different reporting out there. It seems like Lori Vallow either only went to the storage unit once or twice at the very most. It seemed like she went once when she opened it, and then maybe one more time. But it seemed like this man, who's believed to be Alex Cox, visited this storage unit a number of more times. Okay, so I think this article gives us a better kind of timeline and, a better visitation record. Oh no. So it looks like Lori Vallow rented the unit on October 1st, and surveillance video shows that she visited the facility 10 times in October and November, usually with a man who is thought to be her brother, Alex Cox. The man also visited 5 times by himself and once with another man. Vallow and her companion would often place things inside and then remove the same items within days. And it also said that at one point, the man who's thought to be Alex Cox left carrying a large duffel bag. Now, having a storage unit isn't suspicious, and especially considering they moved from one state to the other, yeah, having a storage unit might make sense if you wanted to store things in there. But the items that were stored in there just seem suspicious. It's all the kids' stuff, right? The kids' personal stuff. JJ's book bag with his initials on it, probably a book bag he'd used to go to school. Their blankets with their pictures, photos, their bikes. Things like that, it just doesn't make sense why they wouldn't have them. I also quickly want to talk about the 911 call. Now, it seems like this 911 call was made by a man in his 20s who claimed to be the son of Alex Cox's girlfriend. It's a very strange 911 call, you guys. Very strange. And at one point in the 911 call, he claims that Alex is still breathing, and then the woman on the 911 call says, well, how is he laying? Is he laying on his stomach, on his back? And he said, no, he's on his side. And she said, well, can you please just, move him over to his back? To which this guy replies, I'll try, but there's feces around him. So I'm going to play that 911 call for you now. Once again, I know some of you don't like 911 calls. I'll put timestamps in the description box if you want to skip it.
Yes.
Why do you need an ambulance?
I have a older male, a middle-aged male.
He is breathing?
Yes, he's breathing, but very, very highly breathing.
Okay, let me transfer you the medics. Do not hang up.
Okay. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, what is the emergency?
I have a older male here named Alex. He just passed out here on my bathroom.
Okay, is he awake right now?
I think he's passed out.
Okay, you think he's unconscious?
Yes.
Okay. Is he breathing normally, like you can see his chest rising and falling? Hello?
I hope so.
I have the paramedics on the way, but I need you to try to help me with some information while they're driving there to help him. Okay?
Okay.
How old is he?
He seems to be in his 40s.
Okay. Do you know him?
No, it's my mother's boyfriend.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay. I have the paramedics on the way, so he's in the restroom right now?
Correct.
Gilbert, can we get you started? I'm already en route. All right, thank you. Okay, is he on his back or on his stomach? Where is he at?
He's on his side.
Okay. Can you lay him flat on his back on the ground?
I'll try. It's just there's feces there, and I'm trying to just keep cool right now.
You said he's what?
There's feces on the ground.
Okay. I know that's gross, but if we can just go ahead and get him flat on his back, I want to make sure he's
Right.
breathing, because if he's not, we're going to do a few things.
Gotcha.
Did you say he's cool, like cold?
Alex. Alex. Alex, we gotta get you on your back.
What? You're being asked by a 911 operator to put somebody on their back so that they have a better chance of surviving, and you don't want to do that because you might get some poop on you? This is crazy. And his whole demeanor the entire time was very calm and sort of it's an average day, kind of like, yeah, I got a guy here, and it's like he's not breathing. I think he's not doing well. Just real, casual. As if he was calling and ordering a pizza. So I'm going to play that 911 call for you now. Once again, I know some of you don't like 911 calls. I'll put timestamps in the description box if you want to skip it. We also now have a copy of Alex Cox's marriage certificate. And apparently, it looks like he got married just 2 weeks before his untimely death. So it says that her name was Zulema Pastinas, and they arrived to the Chapel of Love in Las Vegas. The owner, Sebastian Salas, remembers the mood of the wedding, or the minister who did the wedding remembers the mood of the wedding. Now, Sebastian Salas says, quote, "For my minister to be able to clearly remember that, and it's been 2.5 months, and for him to be able to clearly tell me what stuck out to him the most was the lack of emotional response. The wedding lasted no more than 8 minutes. The only witness was the chapel's security guard because the two came alone. They were very cold, it was business, and they just wanted to get in and out." The marriage certificate also shows something untraditional. Alex took his new wife's last name. Yeah, that's never happened. I've never heard that, and this is a first. Now, this actual article just came out recently, a couple hours ago. They've reached out to this Zulema Pastinas woman, Alex Cox's wife, and they've, seen if she wants to talk, and they've gotten no answer. They just get her voicemail. And it says that we're still waiting for Cox's autopsy report to learn how he died, and we've reached out to Gilbert PD for an update. What's going on with these autopsy reports is what I want to know. We got Tammy Daybell's autopsy. We got Alex Cox's autopsy. These autopsies have been done. Let's be honest, right? It's been months now. They know the results of the autopsies. So what is it? What are the results? What is being hidden? What's going on? Because at this point, I'm starting to get incredibly frustrated by the lack of action on behalf of the police department. or any of these police departments that are involved. And there's an interview done with, I forget his name, but it's one of the police, I think it's the head of the police department in Rexburg. And he just seems so lackadaisical. Like, I don't know, we're just trying to figure it out. Definitely seems suspicious. What's going on? Now, from what I know, in Rexburg or in this area and surrounding areas, there's a lot of people who may be involved with this group that's led by Chad Daybell. So what's going on? Is the whole community in on it? Is everybody kind of like protecting Chad? From what I hear and what I understand, he had some friends who had some influence and power in the community. What's going on? Why are these two people not in custody? Why are they not being forced to tell us where their kids are? And why do we have no idea what the results are from the autopsy reports of Tammy Daybell and Alex Cox? Let me know if you guys have any answers, because where are they? Where's the answers? I don't know. So one more thing, JJ's school, his old school, I believe in Arizona, they claimed that Lori Daybell had, sent them a message or an email saying, like, unfortunately, I've got to take him out of school with the death of his father and everything that's going on. I've had to take a job out of state, so I'm taking him out of school. Okay, pretty simple. But there's an app that you can use between teachers and parents to, like, communicate and talk about the kids. I've got one for my kids, and they can post pictures, let you know what the kids are doing, let you know if they need help. And it seems like Lori has been accessing this app for months after JJ was taken out of the school and has been missing. Why is she still accessing this app to see what's going on in the classroom of a child that she clearly doesn't even know where he is or won't tell anybody where he is, and he hasn't been in that school for months? What's her interest in continuing to access the app and see what's happening in his class? That's a very strange question. Personally, I think she's just paranoid. She wants to see if anybody's talking about her or about her son or what's going on. But it could be something else. But if it's the case that she's looking at this app just to see if anybody's talking about her, I have to imagine that she's watching everything that's being said about her at this point. So, hey, Lori. What I found incredibly suspicious and sad, and to me, one of the most telling signs that JJ and Tylee are no longer with us. JJ has autism, or he's on the spectrum, and he had a dog, a comfort therapy dog, a dog who was there because he had trouble sleeping at night, and this dog was there to make him feel more comfortable and more safe, and it worked. And he got very close to this dog, who was trained to be a companion to kids who are having troubles like that. Lori Vallow gave the dog back to the trainer, the person they'd got it from, said they didn't need the dog anymore. That dog was JJ's safe place. That dog was JJ's companion and friend. The only thing in his life, really, that helped him not be scared at night, not have bad dreams, and be able to sleep in his own bed through the night. So that's very suspicious and very sad. And to me, that is one of the biggest, most glaring signs at this point that JJ and Tylee are no longer alive. One more thing about this Lori Vallow woman before we go. On July 11th, 2019, Lori Vallow's brother Alex Cox called 911 to report that he had just killed Charles Vallow, JJ's father and Lori's estranged husband. During Friday's episode of Dateline, new unsettling details surfaced about how Lori Vallow acted after finding out about Charles's death. This article goes on to say that both JJ and Tylee were there when this happened. Lori was also there, and Lori didn't appear to be rattled or upset about the death of her husband. In a police body cam video, she can even be seen laughing and apologizing to her neighbors about the police presence.
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
That's why the neighbors don't know us.
Gotcha.
Like, hi neighbor, sorry.
Arizona detectives told Dateline that throughout the interviews with Lori Vallow, she never seemed to be fazed that her brother had shot and killed her husband. This detective goes on to say Lori was kind of happy-go-lucky. She's just smiling. She was talking about how Tylee was going to go to BYU, Hawaii, and it was just very, very nonchalant. You would have thought we just recovered their stolen vehicle. Cox was also seen dabbing at a wound on the back of his head that he said he'd gotten when Charles Vallow hit him with a baseball bat. It definitely didn't appear that he was struck with an extreme amount of force with a baseball bat. Charles was a very physically fit man and actually a former college ball player, so it didn't appear that it was a huge strike to the head, the officer said. I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but it's like all these policemen are coming out now like, yeah, it was crazy, man. It didn't seem like he got hit in the back of the head with a baseball bat. Story didn't really add up. Lori was acting weird the whole time, like completely happy-go-lucky, like nothing happened. Super suspicious. If it was suspicious, why didn't you do something about it then? Why didn't these people get arrested? Why wasn't this investigated better? You cannot have a man get shot by his brother-in-law while he's in a tumultuous divorce that's custody battle and all this stuff with this man's sister who's your estranged wife or whatever. You can't have this incredibly complicated, tumultuous situation where there's all these emotions running high and one guy just shoots the other guy and then you're like, yeah, that seems reasonable. Seems completely like that happens every day. I'm sure there's a completely good explanation for why Charles Vallow came here to hit you in the head with the bat and why you shot him. I'm just not going to ask you what that is, and I'm going to just assume that this is completely normal behavior and go on with my life. Why is everybody suspicious now? Why does it seem like, oh yeah, definitely thought that her behavior was really nonchalant, like happy-go-lucky. She didn't seem fazed. That is what your job is as a police officer, to notice when people are acting in a way that they wouldn't normally act when a tragedy like this happens. So why is it just coming forward now that the Dateline cameras are in your face? That's my problem. I'm sorry. So sorry. So sorry. I know. I went a little hard there, but it drives me crazy. All right, we're going to keep updates and, keep up with this Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell thing. There's a lot more I have to say about it. I do want to start going live probably on a Saturday or Sunday from now on during the day for about an hour. On Saturday or Sunday, I can go live and we can talk about all the current cases that are happening. And what I'll do is probably like the Thursday or Friday before I go live, I'll post on the community page in YouTube and I'll be like, hey, well, what do you guys want to talk about when we go live this weekend? Like what cases are happening currently that you want to talk about? And that way I can, get myself brushed up and apprised on them. And when we go live, we can discuss these things in person so that we can have a better chat about it. And it's not just, me talking at you guys here and then you leaving comments. So I think that would be good. And it would be a good weekly thing and a good weekly way for us to connect and talk about what's happening recently. And these two cases just seem so suspicious, both of them. What's happening with Faye Swetlik, what's happening with JJ and Tylee. It's like 2020 is kicking us in our faces right now. So hopefully it gets better. Thank you guys so much for being here. Stay kind and stay beautiful. And I'm going to go pass out now because I feel incredibly sick. I love you. Bye.
Straight down.